Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Haribo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Jai, Hare Krishna. So, welcome today. Thank you for coming. And perhaps we've met, maybe we've seen me before, I don't know. No. Well, I have been coming to Manchester, of course, during the period of the COVID. We didn't come, I think, for a few years. But we came earlier this year. And normally I come every year, right, Steve? Pretty much. Manchester first, I started coming to Manchester in 1971. I don't know if you were here then. Huh?
Auspicious. Yeah, he came the year I was born.
The year you were born, that's maybe why I came. I came here because you were born that year.
That's right.
71. Yeah, I was visiting friends who lived in Chorlton. You know Chorlton?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was have you heard of hippies? You heard of hippies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I was kind of a bit of a hippie, you could say, at that time. I was visiting some friends who lived in Chorlton. I don't know the address, somewhere in Chorlton. There were a lot of young people living in Chorlton in those days. And I'd already heard of the Hare Krishna, so I went into the town one day, maybe just to look at the town, and I saw Hare Krishnas on Market Street. It was a little different then. There was cars going along Market Street in those days. And there's a market, sort of underground market there. And that's where I saw a devotee there. His name is Mahavishnu. And he wears this hat. You may have seen him. He's the one who wears this very colourful hat. And he's a very colourful personality. Still very much active. But he was living in the temple. They had a temple where was the temple then? It was, goodness gracious, I can't remember. Somewhere in Manchester they had a temple. It might have been in Old Trafford. They had a centre too, a little bit on the for a short while towards Bolton somewhere. They lived somewhere. Salford. They were in Salford. First of all, they were in Salford. And they moved around a lot, the little centre there. Been here a long time. And that was back in 71. Now, where are you all from? Where are you from?
I'm from Bolton.
Bolton. Bolton. What's your name?
Deacon.
Deacon.
What's your name?
My name is Janananda. That's a long name, isn't it? Jan Ananda. As you can say it in two parts. Jan Ananda. Ananda is a very common word. You may have heard it in Buddhism. It's a very popular word. And it's become a little familiar in the West. The word Ananda. Who knows what Ananda means?
Bliss.
You've been here before. Yeah, it's very common, especially in Asia. Ananda is generally understood to mean bliss, literally bliss, which we would aspire for. And jana means people. It's Sanskrit, ancient Sanskrit language. It means people. Janas, the janas. That's the people in general. So it's a name, and we have another name after that. It's Das. Have you heard this word, Das? It's not German. It's also in German, Das. But in Sanskrit, what does Das mean? Do you know? Do you keep quiet? Those who know, don't speak, please. If you know, don't say anything. What does Das mean? If you don't know, what does Das mean?
Servant of Krishna.
Servant. It means servant. Das, Dasi, whatever, servant. So it means servant of one who gives pleasure to the people. It's not me, a servant of. We try to see ourselves as servants. By nature, every living entity is a servant. We serve, just like you're serving the children. You may serve your family. We may serve ourselves. We may serve our country sometimes. Whatever, service is natural. We have a propensity to serve. We may be disappointed, but we do have that propensity to serve because it's a spiritual nature, spiritual propensity. We use the body and mind to serve, to render service. It's said to be one of the constitutions of the soul is to serve. So our name itself reminds us of that, servant. So Deacon from Bolton, thank you for coming. And you're Kim from?
Stratford, so it's not far.
Stratford.
Bolton,
Yeah, not far. Yeah, not too far. And your good names?
Lynn.
Lynn from?
Hazel Grove.
Where?
Hazel Grove.
Is that
Stockport.
Stockport side? Stockport side, yeah, Stockport. And your good name?
I'm Pat from Stockport.
Also Stockport. So you two girls are more or less from Stockport side, huh? Very good. I like your names. They're very simple names. Very easy to. All three of you guys have got very simple names. It's nice. Makes life a bit easier. My name's a little long, but it's you know that is to help remind us of our spiritual side of life too. Not just our material lives, which we have to live with, and do our duties and so on. So, and we met Archie and Alfie. Is that right? Archie and Alfie?
Archie, no.
Pardon?
Archie and Alfie.
Yeah. So we met the two young gentlemen. And is it tasty? Doesn't look so tasty. There's something to chew on. We all need something to chew on, don't we? Something to chew on, that's for sure. So I first came to I mentioned Manchester in 71, but I'd already visited the Hare Krishna. We have a temple in London. I don't know if any of you have ever been there. I mean, to our temple. You may have been to London. Have you been to the Hare Krishna temple in London? No? Maybe one day, if you're in London.
Is there two? Is there one in Soho and one in Watford?
Two. There's one in Soho Square, near Soho Square, and one near Watford. Two there. There are a lot of other little groups around London. But when I first came, there was nothing near Watford. It was before we got that. That's the famous temple which George Harrison donated. You may have heard about that. In 1973, George Harrison, he'd been looking for a temple for us for a long time because he wanted to help. He wanted to do some service. So he found this building near Watford in 1973 and consequently purchased it and then later gave it to the devotees as a temple. Very nice place, near Watford somewhere. And then in London we had a small place. He also helped us to get that. They got that in 1969, but he was a guarantor. We had no guarantor, so he guarantor for the building in the centre of London. Small place near the British Museum in a place called Bury Place. So George Harrison stood guarantor for that, and he paid for much of the work inside the temple, the marbles and the wood and different things. I wasn't there, but the devotees had no money, hardly. And Mick Jagger, I don't know if you've ever heard of Mick Jagger. You ever heard of Mick Jagger? If you're into music, you might have heard of him. You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he also helped, by the way. He helped with that first temple there in our little temple in the centre of London. Well, it depends who you talk to, but some say he helped with the internals of the temple, and some say he helped by buying the marble for the altar. But whatever it was, he helped. And in those days, it was very new, Krishna consciousness. There was not really an Indian community in England much in those days. Very few. The Indian community mostly came in the early 70s, especially from East Africa. 100,000 Indians suddenly appeared in England, almost within a year, from East Africa. And they all had British passports because it was a colony. And that changed, you could say, a little bit about the demographics of the UK. Since then it's changed considerably. But up to then there weren't many Indians, so mostly we didn't have a congregation. There were some, but not many. Mostly it was just white Western persons coming to the temple, mostly young, with the hippie era, and most of the hippies were really into anything, which was very, let's say, unusual, extraordinary, anything exciting, something like mystical. So Hare Krishna appeared really mystical. We used to go to all the concerts, they still have, I guess, music concerts. They were much relaxed in those days, like Glastonbury. Have you heard of Glastonbury Festival? Well, then it was like a free-for-all, it wasn't like now. It's not like big commercial thing. You have to pay hundreds of pounds. It's like a whole different world. It was like, everyone was like coming for that festival. Hundreds of thousands of people, and the Hare Krishnas would come, and it was like, we're part of the scene in those days amongst the youth, Most of us came from that sort of a mood, We were little revolutionary. Today we were we were chanting in the city of Manchester today. There was a big parade going through the streets, people protesting. I don't know if it's everywhere in England today or not, but they're protesting against the recent government policies. I'm not surprised. I don't know what's going on, but I heard they don't know what's going on either. As far as I know, nobody knows what's going on. But they're protesting like anything. People are looking. People are looking for something. They're looking for, satisfaction, just for normality. But it's so hard to even be normal nowadays. And the young people then were really looking for something. Maybe they were going a little bit too far on, drugs and things, but they were looking for something, looking for some change. Just day by day, boring life is not enough for most people. It's kind of dull. So most of the young people were looking. So I kind of came along in that era, and I heard about the Hare Krishnas when I was in Birmingham. My first contact. What was your first contact, Deacon?
With Hare Krishna?
Yeah.
It was in the same as you, on Market Street in Manchester.
Oh, you met the devotees there, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met them before that, but I did meet them in Market Street shortly after I met them in Birmingham and in London. Yeah. And so you met them on the street?
Yeah, they invited me here.
Oh, that's sweet. That's 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Far out. That's not very long ago, is it? That's just a couple of days ago. Kim?
A friend brought me years ago. Yeah, within the last 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Oh,
10 years,
oh.
about 2013.
Okay, a friend, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, and you've been in touch since then, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Lynn?
Kim told me about it through.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. All right, that's nice. Friends, isn't it wonderful? Word of mouth. I think more now. When we were coming, there was no one living outside the temple. There was just a few young people living in the temple. I mean, people were living outside the temple, but I mean, no Hare Krishnas living outside the temple. And there was just people in the temple. They didn't know anyone, It's like, but now there's like all walks of life. People are connected with Krishna consciousness. All walks of life. You have to excuse me. I'm super tired today. It wasn't Anne, was it? Pat, that's it. Pat, how did you first come in here? Oh, 1, 2, 3. This is a chain of passing down. They're like boom, boom, boom. Huh? Where? Put my glasses on. Where? I haven't got my glasses on. Oh, there you are. I didn't see. Without my glasses, I can't see. It's just like a kind of a bit of like you know, you go in an airplane, you come in these dark clouds, you know, it's all blurred. It's like, you know, I can't see none. So, Eric. Oh, wow. Alex? Alec.
So, E-L-L-I-S, Ellis.
E-L-L-I-S. Ellis. So it's not Eric and it's not Alec, it's Eric. Ellis. Where are you from, Ellis?
Middleton.
Where?
Middleton.
Middleton, that's north, isn't it?
Oldham.
Yeah, near Bolton, isn't it? Just north.
Oldham.
Huh?
Oldham.
Oldham?
Yeah.
Towards Oldham. On the north side. So how did you first come in contact?
It was just on Market Street.
Also Market Street. There's a special place, Market Street, isn't it? So we meet everybody around here. Far out, huh? I went to Oldham once, and I've been to Bolton a few times. I've been to Stockport quite a few times as well. But the only time in my life I went to Oldham was about 15 years ago. We went chanting on the streets in Oldham. I don't know what it's like now, but it was an interesting experience. It was midweek, it was maybe Tuesday or something. And there were a lot of people on the street, and it was mostly Muslim people. I don't know what it's like now. Lots of young ones, I guess they weren't working. They didn't really approve of what we were doing. They made it quite clear they didn't like us being there. And we had to leave after a while. But you know, when things come and go, it used to be all totally different. Things are always changing in this world, always changing. George Harrison once, he wrote he compiled a record, All Things Must Pass. Always changing. If we look back, I'm sure Pat and Lynn, when you look back a few years ago, you've seen quite a few changes in your life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, did you have mobile phones when you were kids?
No.
Probably didn't know what they were, huh?
No.
Computers weren't even known to us. We had no idea what a computer was. When I was a kid, we never even saw television. I first saw my television when I was 12 years old, thereabouts. Never saw one before. Maybe saw one in someone's house, I can't remember. We had one. We got a telly when I was about 12 years old, one of those black and white cracking, popping machines, you know. That was like a revolutionary thing, a television. You know, you look at a television now, it's like nothing. Time's always changing. People's even ideas, I suppose, change. But anyway, I joined the temple eventually. I came in contact in 71. I decided to join the temple in early 72. And since then I've been, you could say, I've been a member of the Hare Krishna movement. And traveling around the world a little bit. I've been far from everywhere, but no one can do that in this world. But I've been to mostly Australasia and Asia and Africa and Europe and North America and Russia and a few other places in between. So I haven't been to Antarctica, but in most parts of the world. And trying to share a little Krishna consciousness according to situations and meet with devotees and trying to serve. Our life is to serve. Service is so nice. We don't generally maybe look at it like that, but we all probably had that experience that when we serve others, how nice it is. You get that with your family, for sure. When you serve your family, you serve your friends, you serve people in general. Service is so nice. And the highest service, the most pleasing service, is when our service is directed towards, you could say, the origin of everything, the cause of all causes, which we understand is known by the name Krishna. He has many names. Krishna means all attractive. Sometimes we see pictures of the Creator. Sometimes in some religions they have this concept of Creator. He's often an old man, sitting on a throne or something, long beard, and he looks a bit overworked, strained, whatever. But that's not the case. Supreme Being is an emblem, a personification of absolute pleasure, love, and loves everybody. The origin of love, the source of love, and most attractive. Not male, not female in absolute sense, the supreme origin of everything. Most beautiful. So all attractive, Krishna means all attractive. So naturally we're attracted to Krishna. Now in this world that attraction to Krishna is, we could say, perverted. We're attracted to his energy, manifest in the form of beautiful scenes in this world. What's a beautiful scene in Manchester? What are people attracted to in Manchester? Pardon? What's that? Huh?
Prince work.
Pink Floyd?
Market Street.
I have to excuse. I guess I'm getting old. My hearing's a little. I thought it said Pink Floyd.
No, print work. It's a place in Manchester.
The cinema.
Oh, cinema. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. People are attracted there. They may be attracted to the football stadium or something, is it?
Yeah, Manchester.
I think it's world famous, Manchester. Well, you know, this would be back in 1970, and I was visiting London. This is before I met the devotees of the Hare Krishnas, and there was a musical on stage, probably 70, maybe early 71, I can't remember, but it was a musical. It was called Hair. Have you ever heard of that? Hair?
Yeah.
Hair, like hair, H-I-R, H-A-I-R, hair. Yeah. So it was a musical, and it was particularly at that time, you know, the Vietnam War was taking place, and so many young people were objecting to the Vietnam War. And this was a movie about basically the rights or the feelings of the youth about the world situation. You know, we have this unfortunate situation in Ukraine right now. You know, so many people are, you know, all over the world are very, you know, for various reasons, disturbed. And that was the case then too. So this was a Hair. It was called a Hair, and it was mainly young actors. And they were singing on the stage. I remember they were singing the Hare Krishna mantra on the stage. And there was another record there, it said, and they were singing about Manchester, all about Manchester in England. I don't know, it's an American stage production, I think. And it was like Manchester was like, you know, I don't know why they chose Manchester, God only knows. I never did inquire why, whether it was emblem of freedom or something, I don't know what they thought it was. But they were singing about it way back in that time, in the early 70s. So the Hare Krishna mantra was kind of going out all over the place in those days. The Beatles had, you know, been chanting, and many groups have been chanting actually, many musicians, young musicians. They made a record with the Hare Krishna mantra on the record. It went all over the world. It was #1 in the hit parade in many places, or around. I saw them, I didn't know what they were. I thought it was a fancy dress group or something on the television. These young people with, you know, bald heads, and ladies with these kind of funny looking dresses on, and marks, and I thought it was some kind of, you know, gimmick or something. I didn't know what it was. And they were chanting Hare Krishna on TV, top of the pops. And it actually, even in Russia, it became very popular. There was a time when the Russian newspaper called the TASS, it was, I don't know if it's still there, it was the most popular newspaper at the time. They produced an article, and the article it said, the 2 greatest threats to communism: rock music, Western rock music, and Hare Krishna. It was the headlines of the newspaper. They were actually afraid, not afraid in one sense, but definitely concerned to keep Hare Krishna out of Russia or Soviet Union at the time, because they could see this would make people start thinking about what's going on, and maybe questioning, you know, the kind of the system, questioning the system. It's natural that human beings question things. It's the intelligence we're meant to try to understand what is the best thing to do. What is the purpose of our human life? You know, what's going on around here? not to remain dull and just go along like a machine our whole lives. Bit of inquiry, but why am I here? What's going on? What's the point of this? Why do we work so hard, day and night, sometimes? Why? To lose everything? Is it just for a few years and that's the end of it? It doesn't make much sense to get so excited to the point where people even are willing to fight with each other over something you're going to lose anyway, which never belonged to us really in the first place. We make such a big issue of things, you know, because we've forgotten, or not say forgotten, we're not aware of the higher purpose of human life. And we're out of touch with nature in most cases. Some of you may have grown up. Did anyone grow up on a farm? Ellis, did you grow up on a farm?
No.
Anybody here grow up in the countryside? Deacon? No? Most of us grew up in towns, is it? In the cities. Some of you were younger, you grew up with modern technology and social media. Some of us grew up in the more of an industrial environment, maybe. Whatever it is, we grew up in that particular city. We have very little association with animals farm animals, and the land, nature, not much. Not so much. Pretty much out of touch. I grew up in a house which was not as big as this room, the whole house, up and down. It was a terraced house, something like, have you seen Coronation Street? I'm not recommending you watch it. We have to watch it when we were kids. There was only one channel, BBC, and my mother obviously watched it I don't know if it was daily, but it was regular. So there was nothing else on the TV, there's only one choice. Coronation Street. That was in Salford. I believe it was in Salford. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that was taken from one of the industrial street. You know, they were all like that. The whole north of England and south, almost everyone lived in these terraced houses, unless you were rich. You lived in a terraced house, no garden, straight out onto the street, you know, one house after the next, pub at one end, grocery store at the other. That was your life. You know, that was your world almost. You went a little bit outside, but not much. That was your world. You knew everyone in the street. But even in that situation, you knew everyone in the street. No one locked their doors. I lived in a street like that. No one locked their doors. You could go in anyone's house, anytime. Alfie and Archie, they could just go into, and everyone would treat them like their own son. It was a whole different world. You know, you go in, they give you a glass of Tizer or an apple or something, you know, everywhere, chocolate, every house, you know, it was like a big family, you know, the whole street. No one had a car, nobody had a phone, nobody had a TV, nobody had a garden. You may have had an allotment outside the town, if you were lucky. But it was a whole different world. But it was, in one sense, it was more personal, you know. You knew the Bobby, you know, the local Bobby, the policeman. He was your friend. It was a kind of different society. Things have changed a lot now. It's all social media. But the principle's the same. We're still looking. We're always looking for that loving exchange. We're looking for something deeper in our lives, something purposeful in our lives. Without any information of the spiritual, then naturally we're trying to adjust the material. So people are parading through the streets protesting against the Tories today, you know, down with the Tories or whatever they were doing, you know. So many negativity. You know, they're looking for something better. It's natural, we all want something better. Better for our children, better for our family, better for our country, better for ourselves. We're all looking for something better. But it doesn't necessarily happen. Just because we've got all these modern technological, you know, facilities, I don't know if it's making life any better. It's certainly not for me, I can tell you that much, it's not making life any better. It's really confusing, and I was telling you today, you know, this is a typical example, you know. I said to the guy in the bank, I said, what's going on? You know, I tell you, young man, I said, you don't know this, but like 20 years ago, if I wanted a ticket to fly somewhere, I just go into the travel agent, tell him what I want, they immediately do the work for you. It's going to cost you, so you give them the cash and they just give you the ticket. Simple as that. Now, it's like a battle. to get an airplane ticket. We spent hours yesterday trying to book a flight. We couldn't book it. The airline was okay, but the bank was not okay. They wouldn't accept it. Isn't it ludicrous? It's supposed to be your money, and they tell you, no. Madness. They said if you want to do anything about it, you phone up this number. 1 hour. They said, we're very busy right now. It will probably take an hour or more before we answer you. Nobody there, just the machine. I go to the bank today and try to find out what's going on. And the guy says, and he showed me this book with about 100 names in it. Said, if you wait, maybe in 30 or 60 minutes, we can talk to you. What is this, You just want to buy a ticket to go somewhere. What is the problem? What's it got to do with the blooming bank? It's nothing to do with them. Who the heck do they think they are? But that's the society we're in. They want to control your hair. Control your nose, every damn thing they can get their hands on. Where's the freedom? Where's the natural expression for the soul? You get in trouble if you try to express yourself, if you're not. It's where's it going? It's just what to say. What to say. I was talking to one devotee the other day, an interesting thing. I don't know if any of you read this book called 1984. I don't know if it's available or not, but it so happened there's a company called Amazon. Have you heard of them? Have you heard of Amazon?
Yeah.
It's some company in Brazil, isn't it? They're some company from Brazil, is that right? The Amazon? Is
I
it?
think so.
No? I saw, as we were coming in near Oldham somewhere, I saw a massive Amazon distribution center, or whatever they call it. Huge. Well, it so happened, is it Amazon? I don't know, Amazon, no. I don't know, I can't remember all the names of these things. But, have you heard of Kindle? Kindle? Is that something to do with Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's something to do with books, right? Amazon books, you can download. And it so happened, one of my friends I was speaking to in London, he's an international book distributor of Hare Krishna books and Indian books and so on. And he was telling me that some years ago, I don't know if it was an experiment or not, but all of a sudden it so happened that tens, hundreds of thousands of people suddenly found that one book was no longer on their Kindle. They just took it off. They can take your books off like this, like that. No longer there, no access. And it was 1984 they took off your Kindle. It's probably still available. If you've read the book, you know why. But that's aside from it. It's just the society we're in is just, we can look at it positively. We could say maybe it will help people to realize, well, what are we going to do about this? Where are we going here? Where are we going? To look a little bit more inside. Because the externals are not really fulfilling the internal quest that we all have. To a little degree only. You get a little bit of pleasure, isn't it? In Sanskrit they call it chapala sukha. It means a little bit of pleasure. But it's gone very quickly. Comes and goes. One day you get it, next day you don't get it. It's like up and down. And when you don't get what you want, it's misery. If you've got kids, you know quite well how this works. We've all gone through it. When you're a child, you get what you want, and then when it's gone, we don't get what you want. It's the nature. We were looking for this. But unfortunately, we're not getting it so much. It's just frustrating, stress. What a stressful life people are living, isn't it? It has become more stressful. Now, I've never met anyone who says differently to that, but obviously there are. But everyone I've ever spoken to says that even they feel it's becoming more stressful, the world we live in now. Indicated by the fact that the number of persons taking some kind of drug to balance out the situation, I don't mean, like LSD or this and that, for hallucinogenic reasons, but for the sake of just balancing your life, to digest, to stay awake, to go to sleep, to help balance my depression, or whatever it may be, so much stress the pace of life. In 1950s, at the end of the 50s, we were kind of exposed to this with propaganda that science is advancing so fast that very soon you will not have a big problem will take place. Because of science advancement, you will not know what to do with your time. You will have so much time, you won't know what to do with it. The same Science magazine, 50 years later, I happened to come across it on a plane somewhere. Science magazine goes back 50 years in time to what they were saying. It says, this is what they were saying, but actually it seems to be that although 50 years forward, we may have progressed with so many inventions and this and that, but actually people have less time now than they had 50 years ago. Both the ladies and men are working. In the 1950s, ladies were working, but not common. My mother was, we were a poor family. My mother was not working 2 days a week in the morning in a bakery. That was it, that's. We lived simply. But now, husband, wife, children off into a kindy or some other one looking after them. Mother, father, working, stressful, come home, all day long, problems, this thing, that thing. Stress, someone's ringing on the mobile, 100,000 messages a day or whatever it is. God, dear. Never ends. Watch the news. Oh, this terrible. People dying in Florida, people dying in Ukraine, people dying in this one and that one, and wars and pandemics and, crazy statements by leaders. Never-ending waves of reasons to be stressed out. And we're not meant to be like that. That's not what life is for. We're like creating, they say, man is the architect of his own misfortune, his own fortune, but also misfortune. We're creating all these things with the idea, I suppose, that this is going to make you happier or make life easier. But the proof of the pudding is the fact that it's not making it easier or more joyful in many ways. There's that little bit of pleasure here, a little bit of pleasure there, but it's not increasing the reality of happiness. Happiness, in Taoism, they have a saying that the Creator has hidden happiness. He's hidden it. It's just a saying there. And they said, you can look for it in the sky, you won't find it. You can look for it in the water, you won't find it. You can look for it anywhere on the earth, you won't find it. He's hidden in a place you'll never look. He said it's in your own heart. Right there. But we don't look. We're looking everywhere else. And because it's not natural. Naturally, due to karma or due to our material interactions, we're going to get a certain amount of happiness and distress whether you try or don't try. That's karma. But the real happiness is not actually dependent on karma, so to speak. It's when we find ourselves, when we look within our own hearts and see. Even when it comes to, say, misunderstandings between people, which are very rampant, it seems like right now. There's like this friction going on, even amongst, it's like in Russia and Ukraine. They're like brothers and sisters in reality. Just some, political divisions or some little cultural differences, but it's whipped up, it's created, it's imposed, or whatever you want to call it, amongst ourselves. Why? Due to ignorance. Thinking specifically, I am the body. Now you're living here in Manchester, maybe some of you are football supporters, I don't know. As everyone knows, there's two famous clubs, is that right?
Manchester City, Manchester United.
Okay, so Liverpool is even more famous for that, and world famous. And there's rivalry. And sometimes they fight. I don't know if it's still like that or not. When I was a kid, we used to go to all these things. People would fight over it. What makes you one or the other, I do not know. But somehow or another, you're a fan of one and you're a fan of the other. And we're going to fight with each other. Sometimes nastily. I mean, I saw someone walking around. I was in Newcastle. And there was somebody from Sunderland. We just came from there yesterday, Sunderland. And this person had a t-shirt on. I hate Newcastle. I hate Sunderland. What does it mean? It's ludicrous. But because we identify so strongly with our country, so strongly with our gender, with our religion, with our whatever it is, our generation, our race, we strongly identify this. We have Black Lives Matter, but we're not black or white. We're not brown. We're not Christians, Hindus, atheists, Buddhists, Muslims. We're none of these things. We're not men or women. We're not old or young. We're not, beautiful or ugly. This is just temporary label for whatever happens to be the body we're in right now, maybe, or the mindset we have. And this creates all the problems, this ignorance of identity. Just imagine if you go on the street, Market Street, since most of you are quite familiar with Market Street, and you ask them, hello, who are you? I don't know who I am. Now, for most people, that would be rather a strange answer, isn't it? Hey, I don't know how to say it up here. Hey, Newcastle, hey man. What do they say here?
Similar, really, yeah.
Yeah.
What group you go to?
Hey, come on, who are you? Who are you, man? Who are you? Come on, tell me, what's your name? And have one. Where are you from? I don't know. Where are you going? I don't know. What do you think? What will you think? This guy's weird, right? Person's weird. They're either crazy or really, something wrong with them. Huh?
Actually, now they lost them in
Huh?
material life. They lost themselves in
What is this?
material life, isn't it?
Huh?
They lost them in material life. They
Maybe.
don't have any self-realization.
Yeah, but maybe, but there may well be, but I mean, you're just talking for normal situation. Who are you? Oh, I'm Joe. I'm Joe Smith or whatever. Hey, where are you from? I don't know. From Bolton. You expect some response. What you doing? I'm a photographer. Okay. You expect some kind of, but someone says, no, I have no idea who I am, where I'm going, what I'm doing, where I'm from, nothing. You think there is, or if somebody on the other side, who are you? I'm God. Or I'm Jesus Christ. Sometimes you see people on the street. I don't know if you still used to see them dressed up as trying to imitate Napoleon Bonaparte. You see these guys going on with their arm in a sling and type of hat on. And the guy's crazy. I mean, if you want to call it that, but in relative terminology, we could call them crazy people. You leave them alone. You don't take them seriously. But everyone's in the same boat in one sense. More or less the same boat. We're all thinking I'm, this body. I'm so-and-so, I'm this and that. But that's only a temporary external designation or description of our, say, position in this temporary world. But to understand who we really are is very rare. If you go to the doctors, which I suppose we still go there, I don't know if you have to pay or not anymore. Do you have to pay now to go to the doctor? Do you have to pay or not? Still free. That's one nice thing, National Health Service in principle anyway. If you go to the doctor and the doctor says, probably, what's the doctor ask when you first go there? If you have an appointment to go to the doctor, you sit down in the doctor's clinic, office, whatever, what does he say? What's the doc say?
What's your problem?
What's your problem? Okay, I'm hearing it from you, I don't know. What's the problem? What's your problem? Doctor, I have a very dangerous and very big problem. Well, tell me, what is it? Doctor, I don't know who I am. What will he say?
Medication.
Well, they'll probably call up somebody from another line of medical world and suggest you make an appointment with them and you'll be on some kind of medication if you're lucky. Or you say to the doctor, I've got a terrible disease. I think I am the body. I think this body's me. What will the doctor say? He'll probably say the same thing. I'll probably phone up someone from another medical line. So I've got a real problem case here. I don't know if they're going to be aggressive or not, but be careful. You better get over here quick, They're a really serious case, this one.
Psychosis.
Huh?
Psychosis.
Yeah, something or other. It's we don't think of it like that, but it's actually something very lacking in us: self-realization or knowledge of who I am, actually. Because we think I'm the body, and the body gets old, and the body gets diseased, and people give you problems. It's not a very natural, comfortable situation. It's not, and you can't fulfill your desires the way you like to. You have to undergo the various unavoidable circumstances of being in this world, of facing old age and sicknesses and other living entities giving us hassles and you name it. And just like in Florida now, they've had a big cyclone. Excuse me. And many people have suffered like hell. It's unnatural. You say, well, that's the material world. Yes, it is the material, but it's not our nature to be in such a situation. So we're trying to do something, at least. May not be very effective. Trying to give that alternative. We are, in Sanskrit they call Anandamoya Abhyasat. We are looking for satisfaction. We're looking for pleasure. It's natural. There's nothing wrong with that. We're looking for love. We're looking for peace. We're looking for security. Everybody needs it. Recognition even at our childlike stage. Everything's needed. But we're just searching here and there and not finding it, then we become very upset. Maybe even on the mental plane we become very disturbed. So we're just trying to give some alternative, at least. Offering an alternative today. Help people to be... And then actually with this understanding more of our actual identity or our spiritual nature, many of the problems which we are presently faced with are no longer causes of problem, really. Even stress. I mean, a lot of the things we do, the things in the consumer society and so on, which we're enticed to buy or feel need to buy, and so many different changes, always changing things, accumulating things. I don't know, keep your kids, but I go into some houses sometimes of married people, I see they have hundreds and thousands of toys. Hundreds of thousands of toys, not one or two. And most of them are reject. They're not really using them anymore. They're kind of like, been there, done, finished. When we were kids, we had practically no toys. A few tin soldiers. I remember I was about 7, I got my first clockwork train set. That was a big breakthrough. A clockwork train set. Went round in a circle like this. And we would just play around in the garden. We didn't have a garden. We would go to the local park, a local piece of land where there was some wild trees, and just play around there all day long, play some football or something. Keep ourselves entertained. Now masses and masses of toys and this thing and that thing, gadgets. And it just confuses and complicates the whole society. Trying to find happiness or satisfaction. Entertainment, call it what you will. And it's just spiraling like this, spiraling. Can't just keep going on like this before that's the danger. So a little bit of endeavor, we're trying at least, to give a little bit of encouragement to look a little bit beyond that or apart from that. Happiness within our hearts. That search for happiness, search for ourselves, search for God, search for self-realization, search for loving relationships, you name it. Those searches are there within every living being, whether we're godly or not godly, whether we're black, white, man, woman, Christian, atheist, it doesn't matter. Everyone is actually searching because we're of the same quality spiritually. Materially, we're not. And to try to equate things on the material platform will not work, as we can easily see. Don't have to wait long for that one. But in spiritually speaking, we're all of the same quality. We're just covered by different dresses, that's all. The body and the mind are like dresses around a pure soul. And this simple process which we're trying to apply in our lives and share with others is this simple meditation, mantra meditation. This age is not so easy for self-realization, no doubt. But this is the special, you could say, gift. The gift of the great self-realized sages, saintly persons. In the scriptures themselves, it indicates it. The Supreme Person himself is giving this opportunity to us all to understand more about ourselves and how we can find true happiness. Happiness that doesn't depend upon the changing world or our changing bodies. Happiness which is the nature, constitutional nature of the soul, along with service and like that. Love, happiness, service, they're all related. Constitution of soul, eternal, blissful, and in knowledge, not in ignorance. So ignorance of the self is really you could say, an easy perspective of seeing why there is so much turmoil and so much, let's say, incompatibility between people or misunderstandings up to the point where people are willing to kill each other over these false identities, basically. So that's, to some degree, we'll finish there. A little bit about my early contact with Hare Krishna, and a little bit about what we're endeavoring to do. And we would like to share with you, encourage you to also help others by helping yourself. Any comments?
That was beautiful.
It sounds beautiful, and thank you. It does sound beautiful, and you're beautiful. Every living entity, by the way, is beautiful. We may be covered by, relatively speaking, different bodies and different coats and this and that, which are judged according to other people's perception as beautiful or not beautiful. But every soul is beautiful. We've just forgotten who we are. And the more we understand ourselves, the more we can appreciate the beauty in others. Unfortunately, we're, covered by this material concept, this material understanding, which, it's also got to be there, but it's not the primary one. It's just a temporary one which we have to utilize and we have to live with. But if we spend our whole life pampering it, our teacher gives a simple example of a bird in the cage. Not that we want to have a bird in the cage, it's just an example, but if you spend all your time just decorating the cage, cleaning the cage, painting the cage, and glorifying the cage, the poor bird is not going to be very happy. It may look nice, but it's not going to help the bird. The bird simply wants to have some food and water, that's all. We're not feeding ourselves. We're feeding the body and the mind. We're not feeding the self. So therefore we're not satisfied. A little bit of relief when the body and the mind are served, but it doesn't last. It never lasts. It's always frustration there. So a little bit of this serving you could say serving yourself in a sense, but it's that's what this is our real business. And then we can help others if they want. It's not you're rare souls who have come here today, that's a fact. Most people are more absorbed. I don't know what they're doing now. I suppose they're watching football right now, is it? Something like that. At least the men and ladies also now, everyone. That's another, not right or wrong, it's just a change in the world. And when I was a kid, you'd hardly ever see a lady in the football match. It was like unheard of. Well, to speak of play, unheard of to even watch. My mother, she used to hate it, she turned that rubbish off, It was like different. Things have changed. It's not better or worse from that point of view. It's just changes are always taking place. But People are absorbed in so many things. But the most important thing is ourselves. We're so placing so much importance on material objects. But what about you? What about you, the bird in the cage? The body's like a cage. The soul within that cage. So important. All problems can be solved ultimately, not immediately, but ultimately. And many immediately. Like this, this crazy kind of like, what a word we can use. Fighting is the result of between religions because they don't understand who they are. Even there's no self-realization. It's just a designation. It's just a dogma. It may be useful or not, but if it doesn't help us to realize who we are and understand the actual common denominator between all of us, it's not really doing much use. Not much use. Just solidifying our conditioning, that's all. I want to speak on a political level or on any other level come to that. As we're judging each other on what we're not. It's called Maya, illusion. Anyway, we know that there's not much education in society in this regard. It's not much. You won't find this in school, quite the contrary. Or even in universities. Rarely. People may talk about it, but it's not something which is emphasized for sure. There are some schools which do, but not the general situation. Not general education. Even in churches and temples and mosques and you name it, there's some piety there, there's some endeavor in that direction, but self-realization, it's almost like taboo. It's almost like taboo. It's almost like this is the work of the devil or something. Weird. It's weird. Whichever way you look at it, it's weird. But it's so fine, and it's so, it just, what do we say? It achieves their purpose in life. Bringing people together on the spiritual platform. On the material platform it's limited. Huh? You have United Nations, but how united are the United Nations? Not much. How many flags? 200 flags? This is our nation. We're all the same. We're whatever body, we're not just humans. Even dogs, cats, elephants, birds, beasts, fishes. In every single species there is a living entity, a conscious living being who has spiritually the same quality. There's a beautiful verse in a book called Bhagavad Gita. How many of you got Bhagavad Gita? Have you got it, Deacon? Pat, you have a Bhagavad Gita? Lynn, you have one? It'd be nice if we can... Alice, you have one? You got one, huh? So it'd be very nice if you can take this book. I mean, do we have them here? Maybe you can give them copies afterwards. You're very nice. There's one verse there called Vidyavanaya Sampane Brahmani Gavi Hashni. This is Sanskrit. Shunichaiva Pakicha Pandita Samadarshana. It means those who are actually learned see equally. A learned person, an uneducated person, a man, a woman, a dog, an elephant, whatever species you're in, they see equally. Now, what that doesn't mean, therefore, they treat a dog like an elephant or an elephant like a, like a human or anything. But it means that they see the soul within all species of life as being equal, just that the body is different and acts differently. And one learns then how to reciprocate with different living entities according to their situation, not according to how you, judge them, but according to where they're at. And treat them accordingly, treat them with respect, give them their rights. Don't usurp other living entities or exploit them. It's a high level of perception, we could say, or understanding, but that's what is the nature of one who is on the spiritual platform. They're not hankering for anything, they're not lamenting for anything, but they work for the welfare of everyone. Man, woman, child, animal, bird, beast. You get someone in Christianity in the past, one great saint known as Saint Francis of Assisi. Have you ever heard that name? Saint Francis of Assisi. Anyone heard of him? Yes? No?
Yeah.
May have heard of him. Perhaps you read about him or heard about him more than I have. But whatever I've heard was very inspiring to me. Our spiritual teacher, at the back of the room, you can see Srila Prabhupada, he's known as Srila Prabhupada, is our spiritual inspiration teacher. He said about him, he said, this devotee of Jesus is a self-realized soul. He said he's self-realized. He used to speak to the fishes. He used to actually preach, if you want to use that word, to the fishes, advising them what to do. Don't go, in this case it was advising them, you know, maybe not go here or there in case you get caught, you know, whatever it was. And the birds, he'd always be covered in birds, he'd always be with birds all over his arms and everything. Incredibly humble personality in every respect. So there are persons like that. It's nothing to do with, you know, this religion's right and that one's wrong. It's a matter of where you're at, where your realization is. Do you have that realization or not? If you don't, then you're not in a position to criticize others because, you know, as they say, those who live in greenhouses should not throw stones. Another nice example is, you know what a sieve, you call it a sieve? Flour, you put flour through a sieve. Is that the word, sieve? Yeah. Sieve. And the sieve is, because the sieves don't speak, but just an example. The sieve is criticizing a needle. Now a needle may have one hole in it, right? Needle may have one hole. And the sieve is saying, hey, look at that needle, it's got a hole in it. How many holes does the sieve have? Many. Yeah. We can look at ourselves, our own situation, not we point these things out to a certain extent just to make us think, but it's external we're mentioning, it's not the internal. Everyone by nature has this right and need for self-realization. And if the process you're following helps you to reach that, Prabhupada, our teacher, would say, fine, wonderful. It's not a question of change, it's a question of internally realizing ourselves, not changing externally. That won't work. So this equal-vision is another wonderful aspect. And then where's the question? When it's like your own body. It's different. The finger is different to the hand. It's connected. Different to the foot, nose, ear, everything. But it's all part of your body. And you treat it all, in a sense, equally. Differently, but equally. Huh? It's important. If you break your finger, it's important, isn't it? You don't say, who cares less, it's only a finger. You know, it's not a very important part of the body. No! You treat it. Of course, you feel the pain as well. It's part of it. So we're all like that. In the Bhagavad Gita it explains, that we're all part and parcel of the Supreme. Every one of us. You know, if your hand starts fighting with your foot, you've got a problem. This is the thing. Once we realize we're all spirit, where's the question of fighting with each other over something which is neither very important, nor does it belong to us, nor is it going to make anyone happy anyway, even if you claim it's mine. It's a falsity. This is not mentioned. Okay, anything else? Thank you, Deacon.
You said that something was called illusion was Maya.
Illusion.
How do you spell that and where's that from?
Maya? M-A-Y-A. Maya. Maya. It literally means that which is not. When we identify with ourselves with something which we're not, that's called Maya. It appears to be there. It's just like you look, give an example. When I don't know what age I was. I would have been a teenager. I remember right this minute, I can see myself standing on the. Have anyone been to Weymouth? On the south coast? It's not a very big town. It's a holiday resort. It's also a small port and a few other things. I had an auntie who lived there. I used to go there on holiday regularly because we would go for one day on holiday, or maybe we'd go there for a few because I had an auntie who lived there. And I never remember ever staying in a hotel as a kid. Never. We couldn't afford it. We would go to, a day outing, or we go to stay with a relative in either Margate, I had one there as well, or Weymouth or Falmouth, and down in Cornwall. So in Weymouth, I remember one time on the quay where the boats are, I was looking into the water, and it was a very bright day. Now, and the water was really smooth. There's no wind, And I just got a camera, an old camera, but it was I guess a reasonable camera. I was a late teens, I guess, or mid-teens, I don't know, something like that. And I remember I thought, well, this is phenomenal, because what I was seeing in the water was a replica, exactly the reflection of the quay and the houses behind and everything. And I took a picture of that, and it was hard to tell which was the real one. I don't know how I did it, but stood somewhere you could see both. And it was almost difficult to tell which was the real one and which was the reflection. It looked almost the same. So the material world is like a reflection. It looks real, but when you get in there, it's not really real. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. It's like a picture. You have a picture. It is kind of real, but it's not real at the same time. The material is like that. It's there, but it's not the real form. It's a reflection of the form. So we're in it, like a dream. Everyone knows about dreams. Your dreams are kind of often muddled up. They're not very, clear sometimes, but there's many scenes there which you identify with because you've had that experience. It may be jumbled up, but you've had that experience somewhere in your life or previous lifetimes. And when you wake up, what do you say? It may have been a good dream, it may not have been a good dream, but when you wake up, what do you say? Or what do you think? What do you think? Say you had a bit of a rough dream, and then you suddenly wake up, what do you think? Any thoughts?
Thank God for that.
Huh?
Thank God for that.
Thank God for that. Yeah, you might immediately say that. It's funny. Even atheists say that, by the way. Thank God for that. God help me. God help
When
me.
you get the dreams,
Huh?
when it comes to dreams, is it karma, you think?
Yeah,
Is it karma
it's also
or
karma.
past life?
It is also karma. It's also karma, what you experience in your dream. That's kind of another aspect of it. But you realize it was just a dream, huh? Whew, thank God that was a dream. And when you're in the dream, you didn't think like that, did you? It was like reality, wasn't it? Yeah. You're faced with reality, and it's not always so pleasant reality either. I'm going to put my hand... Don't run away, I'm just going to put my glasses on. Wait, where's he gone? I see someone coming in. I saw them go out, but I don't know who they were. Anyway, they've gone now. Don't have to worry about that. It's like you're fighting sometimes in your dream, It's like a reality. But if you realize it's just like watching the TV or something, do you have to fight on the television? Some people do. When you're watching some scene on the TV, is it real or is it not? It's some movie or something. It is and it isn't. It's amazing, huh? And sometimes it so much affects us when you watch it. You become so much either excited. Actually, you know what? People have killed each other by watching television and having, differences of opinion just watching TV. This is I don't know. I know when I was young, we would read about this. You would fight over the television program. It's illusion. You were watching it and you're getting, oh no! Or you got a midnight movie, a horror movie. There's a love scene. And the girls are like, the emotions are just going crazy, Oh, your favorite team is losing, and you're, then they score a goal, and boom, it's like, it's just on the screen. Come on, wake up. Your dog thinks you're crazy. Dog sat next to you, he thinks, what's going on with her? She's going mad. Nothing happening. And suddenly, having a breakdown or something. Mobile phones are like that. You know, watch people on a mobile phone. They're not aware of it. They're walking up and down with this thing in their ear and a thing here. No, yeah, oh no, get that out of here. No. Sometimes you see it's like this, you know. Absolute sanity. First time I saw someone like this, I actually thought they were going mad. I'd never seen this going before. You just get carried away. This is the illusions of material world. Get carried away with it all, you know. Because we don't have anything else. If you have nothing else but a dream, that's it. You just have to go along with it. Not very nice thought, but that's how it is. And then you wake up and you think, oh God. Sometimes you don't want to go back to sleep again. You know. Sometimes you do.
That's much real life, you know. That's much real life. You sometimes get you crazy, live like a madness, you know. Didn't realize, isn't it?
What to do? If you don't have any choice, you just have to try to make the best use of it. Do your best, but there is a choice. There is a choice. That's the real thing which is lacking. It's not the choice between, you know, Colgate and whatever other type of toothpaste you have on the market. I already know Colgate. Another type of toothpaste, or Channel 1 or Channel 2, or whether you go to Mallorca or Canary Islands or Blackpool, or where'd you go on your holidays around here? Blackpool? Is it still there? It used to be Manchester, meant Blackpool. Everyone go to Blackpool for their holidays. I don't think you do now. It's cheaper to go to Mallorca than it is to go to Blackpool. Get on a Ryanair flight to Mallorca for £10 or something. Well, whatever it is, it's just...
Wales is another
Huh?
one. My sisters have got caravans in Wales.
Has she?
Every weekend they go to Wales.
Oh, that's not bad. At Wales, oh, must be.
Ambulance, you know.
Yeah, Opel, I don't know about that one. We would go to Western Supermare. It's like this, the Blackpool of the southwest, you know, Western Supermare. You know, you see the sea if you have a telescope, you know. It's about 8 miles away from the beach, you know. The sea's coming in, you know. When it starts coming in, you've got to run to keep up with it. You know. It comes in about 5 miles an hour. What to do? Hare Krishna. He loves the drum. I like that. I really like it. You look good. You look great with that mridanga, I tell you. We call this a mridanga. Mridanga, two-ended mridanga. Two heads.
Should we have like 10-15 minutes?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I take my glasses off so I can't see what the time is.
If 10-15 minutes later, and then the show will be ready.
Then there'll be a lunch, snack, something, or a beautiful vegetarian meal. I hope.
Did you leave the curtain, Maharaj?
I don't mind whatever you like. You want me to or not?
Please,
Don't forget those Bhagavad Gitas, okay? I'll sign it for you if you want. Joke. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Oh, you can stand up from it. Come on, all up. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Bolo all together. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Haribo